England itself, the media, the fans, the establishment have this sort of entitlement.
We've not won anything since 1966, so
It's got a flood of foreign talent in it. It's got a flood of Spanish, French, Dutch, all sorts of nationalities that make this league what it is.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 2 of It's Not Tom, Dick or Harry, the podcast. We've got a lot to discuss today, guys.
Yes. Plenty to go through.
It obviously didn't come home, so let's just get that all out the window and get it all in.
I did predict Spain were going to win it, though. I just want to put that out there.
From the viewers, the last podcast, it got cut out at the end, and I predicted for England to win. Omar predicted for Spain and Portugal.
Portugal,
yeah.
As the viewers will come to know, 99% of the time I'm always right. So this is the first vindication of that.
Before we carry on, 99% of the time you think you're right, but you're probably right about 9% of the time.
Well, I'll take this 9% then. Of the Spain, I'll take this 9%.
So getting onto what's going on with England at the moment, let's just start off with the game. Let's go from the semi-finals. Actually, let's recap from the semi-finals because we didn't really speak about the semi-finals at all. We just about beat, let's just say, the Swiss.
To be honest with you, we just about beat every team that they played.
Correct.
Really, it was all I think, like me and you, and we were discussing quite a bit, that it was a tournament of moments for England.
Yeah.
There was no real patterns of play. There was no sustained period where they dominated a game. It was all just moments. Saka's moment, Bellingham's moment, Watkins' moment. That's essentially all it was. And Gareth, you did have that moment in the final as well when Palmer scored.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for Gareth, he didn't have enough moments to win the final.
It wasn't tactically. I think he kind of he tweaked it coming into the Euros, where he put Trent in the middle, just to, I think, fit Trent in somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a case of, we need to get a team going and some sort of fluidity throughout the team, some cohesion. I don't think it was any of that. And to be fair, in the final, when he put Luke Shaw left back, and even when he put Kobe, when he put him in the middle instead of Trent, you could see that it was actually starting to look a bit more of a team than just a bit of individuals. For me, in the semi-final, I thought, like you said, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think Saka scored a brilliant goal, absolute brilliant goal. He was getting a bit of stick before that. So was Foden, so was Bellingham, but he scored an amazing goal.
No, sorry to clarify, the semi-final was Watkins' goal, wasn't it?
Oh no, sorry, I'm on about the quarterfinals.
The quarterfinal was Saka, sorry. Semi-final.
Sorry, yes.
Was Watkins,
but Watkins was the last-minute goal that we scored against the Netherlands, and like I said in the previous episode, that the Netherlands aren't the team that they used to be. They did have a good attack and a good defense. Yeah. I don't rate the Netherlands like previous teams. I won't put them in the league of where the likes of Portugal were. I knew they obviously progressed further, but I won't put Netherlands in the league of Portugal, even France. I think in terms of their squad, they had a good 11, but they didn't have a squad. They haven't got a squad, not experienced squad anyway. But going into the semi-finals again, I'd say the tactics weren't again the greatest, but he changed it where we looked as though we were playing 3 at the back.
I think he did well, but if you look at the half time, as soon as Koeman changed his tactics, he nullified England, and Southgate essentially didn't know how to react. Again relied on that moment from Watkins, but going away from that and then to the final, where we knew we were going to get bossed by Spain. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Because they've been the team of the tournament. They deserve to win the tournament. He did get his moment with obviously Palmer coming on and scoring the goal that he scored.
Yes. Coming back to your point was about the moments versus actual what you look at. Spain were actually dominant. You could see their patterns of play. You could also tell that they had a game plan, and they exploited that game.
So if you watch Spain throughout the tournament, Aravind, you see that they were just good in every game. You could see that they had, England weren't really even though they had the easiest route to the final, they weren't really quite there. You know, Spain, look who they beat all the top teams together.
Pressuring all those teams that they played with too much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The good thing about Spain was that, like, if I be honest with you, football's, in my opinion, moving a little bit away from this. Is that they are two direct wingers.
Yeah.
Who actually, I think I said it in the previous podcast as well, that they were attacking the defenders, especially with Nico Williams. They basically did not hold back. They didn't care whether it was Kyle Walker. They didn't care it was the Italians' defense. They just didn't care whether it was the French.
It was just turn and attack.
Turn and attack. And the good thing about them was that they're a bit different to the previous Spain teams that have won it. And even going back to the last Euros, is that
they direct.
Yeah, they were very direct. So every pass had a purpose. Yeah. And I think it was very refreshing to see in the tournament a team playing like that, because a lot of the teams now play with inside forwards, or they play with two number 10s, like we did with Bellingham and Foden. And coming back onto that, it didn't work for us. Because why it didn't work for us? It's not been working really since the quarterfinals against Swiss. It didn't really work. It worked very well in the first half. We did well, but it didn't click because the Swiss did get back into it in the second half.
Yeah.
And that's what I think, where a Rashford or a Sterling or maybe a Grealish would offer even Harry Kane's game something different.
I just disagree. I said it in the last one. It's just the manager's just not good enough. He did well. Look, he got the team together. He got rid of all the cliques. He did everything right. He got the nation happy. He got everyone jumping around singing "It's Coming Home."
Look, it's true.
He's not good enough.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's gone.
Yeah.
Who's next for England? That's probably what we want to now discuss.
Do you have any suggestions, a good one that could replace him properly?
It's hard because the thing is, one thing I will say is that tournament football is different to managing, a club level, because club level you get to see the players every day.
Yeah.
Pretty much, you get to train with them every day. So you've got a more of an understanding and a relationship with the players. Whereas with tournament football, you might see him 7 or 8 times throughout the year.
Yeah.
When they have friendlies, or sustained period you get when they have tournaments.
It's like coming back to that point of the managers. Like, a lot of people are suggesting Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola's an amazing
but
manager.
Pep needs time to.
But exactly.
You don't have that. I don't know if Pep would work.
Exactly. The system that he implements, I think it's hard for the team to adapt straight away to it.
Yes.
Would he need a couple of months, maybe a little bit longer, for them to actually train and go into matches before tournaments? And look at the Premier League, the way the Premier League scheduling is. I don't know where he'd get that couple of months, because again, the European schedule of football finishes in May.
You don't get that.
Then you're into a tournament. Literally 2-3 weeks
I'm not one of them, but I personally do think that the manager should be English.
English, yeah.
Because I think that obviously someone that is English kind of understands it more.
Yeah.
Of course.
From the fans' point of view. Look, I'm not diehard for England to win. I wasn't as gutted as I thought I might be because they lost the final. I'm a lot more gutted than Arsenal. I'll be sulking for like a week. It is what it is. They lost, and
for me,
2 on the bounce now in the finals.
For me, I'll be honest with you, it's more of a case of the best person for the job, as in the best man for the job. But I can equally understand that I inside would want it to be English, because like Omar said, that it's obviously some differences in how to handle the media, etc. I think it's still better from a person that's English, where even when you can go into the bit of when the national anthem is on, the manager would be singing it along, where he might know what it's like to be one of these English players. My suggestion in terms of an English manager for England would be Eddie Howe.
Well, I think Eddie Howe's, and I think Potter are probably Graham Potter are probably the 2 front runners. So Eddie Howe is the Newcastle manager at the moment, and Graham Potter was the ex-Chelsea manager for about 5 minutes. And
Let me have my coffee.
All right, sorry, 10 minutes. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. He managed them until they kicked him out, and it's a bit sad on Graham Potter.
It's not sad. He just couldn't handle.
It was
the
sad.
Pressure. That's the only thing.
Arvin, remember what we said at the start? 90% of the time I'm right. So we go with me.
And what you call it, the 9%. Remember the 9%.
So and then the other ones, obviously, sorry, you got Eddie Howe and Graham Potter. So Potter used to manage Chelsea. Before that, he was Brighton manager.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a good fit for England, to be fair.
Another ex-Chelsea manager, Pochettino's apparently.
No, not Pochettino.
Yeah, I wouldn't have Pochettino. But
again, I don't know.
There's an outside chance here. That's a bit of a curveball that everyone is also talking about.
Jurgen Klopp.
No. I don't think Jurgen Klopp. I think it's Lampard, but I wouldn't put Lampard in. No. If I'm honest with you. I think tactically.
Lampard, I think, can be part of the setup, but I don't think he can.
I think he's more probably under 21s.
I don't think he's proven himself as a manager.
Yeah, or even a technical director behind the scenes.
So Frank Lampard is like an ex-Chelsea legend.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's a real. He was a top player, but a manager, I think he's a bit useless, to be honest.
As a manager, he did well at Derby. He did well at Chelsea for the first season, but 100% agree when it got a bit.
But again, maybe because he's at an England setup, where he's not necessarily doesn't have to buy players or anything like. Because he was restricted in. Sorry, Arvin. He was restricted in Chelsea's first season. He couldn't buy, because of the transfer ban. Sorry, Arvin. What were you going to say?
Do you think England needs a manager who has got big wins or something to say, or is it?
See, look, I was listening to this on the radio, Talk Sport radio to be precise, and I'll be honest with you, I agree to an extent. It's sometimes hard to agree with Talk Sport as well. I think that an England manager is not just a manager, and I do agree with that. How difficult it may be for us guys to accept, I think it's a little bit more than just being the England manager. I think you have to take the outside noise with it.
You do, but again, I think it's one of those things where they kind of said that Southgate actually said it quite well. Before we played Switzerland in the quarterfinals, before we played Switzerland, he almost said that England itself, the media, the fans, the establishment have this sort of entitlement that someone believes that England, for some reason, are just the greatest nation in the world when it comes to football, and they should just win the tournament. Not really. Not won anything since 1966. Only now, to be fair again to Southgate, he's brought a bit of success getting to finals. But before that, we've been completely useless.
Yeah, we have.
So it's again one of those things where does that entitlement come from? Is it come from us having the Premier League, which is the greatest league in the world, in my opinion, and probably a lot of other people's opinions, but it's got a flood of foreign talent in it. It's got a flood of Spanish, French, Dutch. There's all sorts of nationalities that make this league what it is. It's not just English players.
Just English players,
So they need to get away from this thing that suddenly England as a nation needs to be top of the tree and in every single final, winning every single tournament.
Single thing. The thing is, look, like you said, we've not won anything since 1966. So where's this entitlement come? Where the entitlement probably has come from, because in my opinion, probably have the best league in the world.
Yeah, and that's what I think it is.
Or then automatically we just think that because we have the best league in the world, we have the best English players, and then we're going to win the league. Like, I'll give you an example. Not being biased or anything. You've got Mason Mount, who's gone for about 60 million he went last summer
Man
to
United.
Man United plus 5 million. Now, is he actually worth that amount? He's probably not. Same with Grealish, went for 100 million. Is he actually worth that amount? Probably not. But the thing is, because they're English, you do get
you have to pay a little bit more money for them when you buy.
And sometimes you think, now some other players that come in, you look at the likes of Kevin De Bruyne. Is Grealish good as Kevin De Bruyne?
No.
Probably not. 100% probably not.
No, probably.
Yeah,
there is no probable about that one.
But the thing is, I think Grealish was really good at Villa.
He was. I agree with that. But then obviously
I think the coaching side of it, Pep takes that out.
Yeah. That's a whole different argument.
Yeah, I see it with Sterling at our club, where the need to take a player on has actually gone off their head, is more to pass. But coming back to the point is that I think the tax on English players, where we think English players are actually better than what they actually are. And that's when then we bring that whole ideology into the England setup, where we think England, that's it. As soon as the tournament comes on, we get our flags out, we put them into the car, we put them in the window,
Yeah.
and we think yes, we're gonna make it to the final, we're gonna win it, and we're supposed to win it.
Yeah.
But France have won more than us.
A lot of the nations
exactly.
Have lots of things.
You've
But
got-
anyway, look,
yeah,
for me, it should be probably I would say between Potter and Howe.
yeah.
If the audience, if you guys let us know in the comment who you think should be the next England manager.
Just put Lampard in there.
Don't put Lampard in there, please. Please don't put Lampard in there. So as we were saying, moving on,
Yeah.
sorry. Ronaldo, I think there was a time to do it. You know, if he'd done it like after the game, probably would have understood a bit more. I think the time he did it, probably not the best time to do it.
Yeah.
It kind of makes everyone feel like, oh, it's Ronaldo making it about himself again.
See, look, I understand that, but I think we forget that sometimes he probably is a human, and he's probably there's so many stuff going on in his head where he's thinking, this is my last Euros, I've got basically nothing. I might even retire from international football after this. He might even be thinking he might not be making the next call. He might be thinking that, and I think he's taken the pen, and I think all that emotion and everything, the disappointment of missing the pen, I think it's kind of got to him.
Yes.
And I think he's just broke down. For me, I'm a bit on the fence with this one because I also do think sometimes he took about 20 odd free kicks. I don't even know if he let any other player take free kicks. Yeah, and I think he kind of got all two on top of him, and he kind of just exploded and just let it all out. And the other side, I see it where I think he's just a footballer and he's got his emotions there. And give him credit where he took the penalty in the shootout and he scored and he buried it as well.
Yeah, true.
So fair enough.
He came back and took it.
It takes a big.
Look, you can never
person.
say anything against him. Everything
No.
he's achieved in the game,
No.
the goals he scored, and the guy he is, the Ballon d'Ors and everything.
Considering his age and the game that he plays at this time,
Yeah, 100%.
I think,
And I would also say that if you look at like when we were listening to the radio and they were saying like, oh, look at when Bellingham scored the overhead kick, and they were like, oh yeah, we want to see that emotion, we want to see that.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, 10 minutes before that,
Yeah.
they're sort of taking them not the Mickey, but you know they're looking down on Ronaldo for crying. So
it's true.
It's typical English media, that is.
Yeah, it's like I think I know who the what you call it person is that said it. Used to play for Aston Villa.
Yeah.
So what you call it? He was talking about, like you said, about how Bellingham showed that emotion. That's what you want to see in footballers and all that. But then on the other hand, said, "Oh, why was Ronaldo crying? Trying to make it all about himself." So it's two ways. Looking on to the next point that I had was there was a bit of with the media was Kevin De Bruyne, and it's a good topic to start off on because it's a golden generation. We've had a golden generation of our own at England, as you'd say. We had it when Lampard, Gerrard, Scholes, Terry, Joe
this
Cole.
one you could say.
Yeah. And we could say we're having another one. But again, you've got going back onto the Belgium team, who specifically Kevin De Bruyne plays for, and where it came out was their golden generation. And I do agree to an extent that not that this team that was in the Euros was the golden generation, but the previous team, especially with Hazard in it, with Lukaku in it, with Kevin De Bruyne in there. They had Vertonghen and Alderweireld at the back and Courtois in goal. That is a decent team, very, if not very, very good. And they didn't really. They finished third, I think, in the previous tournament. So they finished third as a team. But like I said, I think again they have failed as a golden generation. I don't think they should have won at least something. But Kevin De Bruyne kind of reacted quite badly to it because I think he started mentioning the French team, the German team.
Yeah,
and,
some of what didn't really make sense. I think.
The only one that made sense was probably the English.
I mean, I can understand his reaction again because emotions are high at that time.
Yeah.
And you're asking questions right after the game when you've been knocked out of tournament. So I get it. It's just players reacting in the heat of the moment. And
when talking about this golden generation, I think the England team is gonna hit its prime at 2026 World Cup. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. No,
a lot of the players are coming now into their peak. So
yeah, I think the English team's gone a bit different as well. Coming back to that, I think they've become a bit more technical than they have done in the previous years.
Yeah.
A lot more technical. But like I said, there's a few question marks about some of the players now. So, likes of Harry Kane, I'd probably say Trippier, I'd also say probably throw in there Walker just about. He did have a bit of a. He didn't play well, I'd say. Definitely didn't play well against them in the final.
No, but I think both goals were his mistake. But anyway,
that is.
These things happen, don't they?
And coming lastly to the Euros is looking at the best player, and then looking at a player that's really well. When I say best player, best young player, and looking at what we, in our opinion, was the best team.
Yeah.
As well, and then we'll do that for also looking at which team that didn't really do that well and which player didn't do that really well that we thought should have done well, and then we'll have like a wild card
for me, best player, I would go with. I would say it's probably Rodri for me.
Rodri,
yeah. I just think he's the control he has in that midfield, and he's just got both aspects of the game right down to a T. Controls the midfield. He can set up attacks.
I don't know if the stats are right, but I read up somewhere that he'd only lost one final, and that was the FA Cup final last year against Man United.
There you go. So it shows you yourself.
But
I'm sure he even lost them. They've not lost it. When he's not there, that's when they lose.
And I think the first one was the final against against Man United. I think that was the first.
So again, I'd say, look, for me, Rodri best player.
Yeah.
And I know there's a few to pick from. You know, you've got Yamal and you've got Nico Williams as well. He could be up there, but I would go with Rodri best player. And,
who do you say your young?
It's got to be Yamal.
Yamal,
16.
Yeah.
16 years old and playing at a tournament. It just speaks for itself. Folks. There's not really much more I need to say. He's definitely.
And I have seen an article a few days back that PSG has made an offer for him to Barcelona.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Really big.
Fair play, because he's
got to be a lot of money for that.
Because I think the clause in his contract's $1 billion.
Well, I think PSG will really put it past.
Because they did take.
I think Barcelona are trying to tie him down to a new long-term contract as well. But.
And who do you think your best team?
Spain.
Yeah,
Spain definitely best team. Won the tournament.
For me, just the fact that you said
from beginning, Spain was doing so good.
They've dominated the whole tournament.
I think collectively we can say that Spain definitely the best team. And one thing you've got to give it credit is that the best team won the tournament.
Yeah, for once. Sometimes you get someone.
You get your Greece or you get your Portugal.
Yeah, that doesn't do that well but wins the tournament. Exactly. This time it was best team won the
tournament. And that was great to see in football.
For you, best player?
Because you've said Rodri, I'll be honest with you, I had Rodri down. I'm not gonna lie. I thought
he's making this up.
No. With me, it's between Rodri and Nico Williams.
Yeah.
Because I had to have Yamal as the best young player.
Yeah.
And the best team is definitely Spain, so I can't say anything about that. But just for the fact that you've said Rodri, I'd say Nico Williams the best player in what you said, because he's the best player for you. But for me, I'd say Nico Williams only because something different. He's very attacking, very forward-thinking.
Yeah.
You know, he I don't know, just like a breath of fresh air for a tournament. You know, as you've been younger, you've had tournaments where you go into like the World Cup 2002, for example. They had like Owen for England, but you had your Ronaldo, your Ronaldinho's, and you had a player in the tournament that lit it up. And I think Nico Williams for me and Yamal both lit this tournament.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was refreshing to watch Spain, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, what do you think?
For me, of course, Yamal, like everyone else. He was just doing wonders. At 16 years old, a player could do these. Yeah, it was massive.
It's something funny I read up on it. To be fair, I think he turned 17 just before the final.
Oh yeah, I heard that as well.
Yeah, just before the final, and then there's another stat as well when they're playing Germany.
Yeah.
Apparently, in Germany, there's a law where a 16-year-old can't work for after 10 o'clock.
Oh,
so
10 p.m.
10 p.m. I don't know how true it is. I read it up on X, and I don't know, like I said, but it would have been funny if they got into some sort of penalties, whether he would have still been on the pitch or not. I don't know.
Because of the time.
Yeah.
But if you could pick a player or best player who did good for England, then who would it be, Omar or Ash?
I'd say Pickford.
Pickford, yeah.
It's very Pickford followed by probably Stones, but it's a very
honestly,
I think Pickford,
it's really difficult.
Yeah, really, it's really. I'd say
yes. I mean, it probably is Pickford.
And that's really, I'll be honest with you, scraping the
He didn't
barrel.
have to do a lot, but I mean, he did what he had to do. He did well.
Yeah.
I really can't think of anyone else that would say he was a standout. They all had, again, their moments.
I think Gahey, perhaps.
No, but even Gahey had a bit of suspect.
Had his moments.
Moments. Stones was quite good, to be
Stones. That's what I think. Pickford probably number one, and then Stones, and then
maybe
I'll be honest with you, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's probably no one.
It's just open for debate.
And then it's just
Palmer looked good when he came.
Yeah.
But again, it's moments, isn't it?
He didn't play
enough consistent. Yeah.
To say that he was the best.
But who would you say is the player that was sort of
a surprise, or
at least you're not surprised, but
underwhelming.
Who was underwhelming? Who didn't do as well as what you thought they would?
The easy one to say is Mbappe.
That's what I was going to say.
That was the easy one. Because that's what Omar does in these.
Well, no, actually, sorry, hold on.
99%
hold
right.
on, for clarity, Mbappe said himself that he was poor this tournament. So, if I'm in agreement with Mbappe, that's fine.
But that's an easy win.
Okay. I'll agree with one of the best footballers on the planet.
That's why he's right.
He's got the same opinion as me.
That's why he thinks he's 99% right, because he goes for the easy.
Actually, look, 1 second. I said 90%. Well, you say 9.
Okay,
well, just for clarity again. 90% right.
And anyway, coming back to it, I'd say I really liked him as a player. Well, like him as a player, but he obviously does play for a rival team. But I'd say Rice didn't really do much for me.
Yeah.
I wanted him at Chelsea before. I'd still, obviously, if it ever came down to it, it wouldn't be a bad signing for it. But I don't think but that's partly not down to him. I think it's of how I watch him against Arsenal.
Yeah, we discussed this. This is based on a manager that's clueless. He has no way of playing the system.
I'd agree to that, to say that he didn't, how he plays for Arsenal, how he played for England, it's two different players. And that, like Omar said, it's more down probably to the manager because of his tactics.
A lot of them were like that, weren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, one actually that I missed out that I probably could have said was good for England was Kobbie Mainoo. I thought he did well when he came in. Yeah. And he had a decent stretch of games. He did well. Obviously, there was just the game against Spain where he couldn't. Again, I put that more down to Southgate. The system that he plays, there is no system. It's just kind of hitting.
Are you still sticking with Mbappe as your
100%?
Yeah.
And
me too, Mbappe.
Mbappe, yeah. Fair enough. Okay, I just thought you might want to go a bit.
No, but I mean, look, the guy. You've got expectations on Mbappe, haven't you?
Just to bring another player into it, so we could talk about them, maybe.
If you say Mbappe, when I say to you Mbappe, you expect he's going to light the tournament up. As he has done before.
No, but like that,
I mean, look, there's a lot of players actually in the French team that you could probably pick out that weren't great.
Yeah.
As well, even for England, you could say maybe Foden wasn't
great. Yeah.
Because I didn't have the best of tournaments.
Did he end up managing to get an assist? I don't think he did he?
I don't know if he set one up or scored one either.
Or I think he might have set up Palmer.
I think Bellingham.
Palmer was set
Palmer's
up by Bellingham.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Oh yeah.
But I don't want to get started on Bellingham. We'll leave that for another day. But
no, we've got that one.
Leave that for another day.
But okay, the underwhelming team. So who we thought was expected to do well didn't do that well. I've got
I think there's about 4 of them.
Yeah,
again.
Do you know me? Portugal. I rated Martinez as a manager before he went into international.
I didn't.
But I thought he did really well with the likes of Everton.
Spanish Southgate.
Yeah. Honestly, God, in my opinion, he's ruined he ruined the Belgium golden generation. And he's now working himself into ruining the Portuguese golden generation.
Yeah, I don't know if Portugal is a golden generation. I mean, you look at
the keeper.
Pepe is that 50 years old.
Yeah, but
Ronaldo's about 45 years old.
No, fair play. But they have got
they have got a very good team. I'd give that. They have got a very good team.
Defenders, but you've got Diego in goal, and you've got what you call it right back. You've got Cancelo in the middle. You've got Diaz. And
they have.
They've got a wonderful.
I agree.
Team.
Yeah,
Bernardo
Portugal.
Silva, João Felix. You've got what you call Cancelo. Is it Conceição?
Porto.
Yeah, you've got a brilliant young team there, but he's going. I don't know what he's trying to do. It's like an overkill of passing.
Maybe it's international managers in general are not the best.
Yeah. Maybe there's not enough. There's not a good pool of international managers, and maybe they've gone for.
But guys, in the comments, guys, let us know who your best player was, best young player, most underwhelming player, best team. And anything else you want to let us know?
Yeah.
It's all there for
Let us know about what team you thought that you had on your list to do really well, and then they've come into the tournament and they've not really performed. So, Arvin, who was your team that you think that didn't really do that well, but you thought would do?
Of course, Portugal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought, fair enough. As a fan, you take interest in watching, but wow, even I was frustrated watching their games. I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
There was quite a lot of games that were like that.
Yeah.
They were hyped games where
Yeah.
you thought we're gonna get a really good game here, and it was just sort of boring. It was like 0-0, maybe 1-1, went to penalties.
Yeah.
I think I expected a bit more from England as well. Like Omar said, they were mostly playing like park the bus kind of game. Yeah.
I know it's true
You're
because
right.
I think with England, me personally, I didn't really experience it that much because I had an invested interest. So you always, even when your team doesn't play that well,
Yeah.
you still can't sometimes see that. But you're 100% right. Looking back at some of the games, they were dire. They were really bad. Really, really bad.
100%. But should we have a look at some of the comments from the first video?
Yeah.
And have a bit of a discussion on them. So from the first episode, there was a few comments that were left, which we're going to discuss, guys,
I'll bring that
as
up.
promised.
Okay, the first one is from a user EQ4RJ1BN7V.
So is that his name?
And that's basically what he's left in.
Right, what did he say?
It's probably a young lad who doesn't want his parents to know.
Actually, we're not
He
sure.
or she, yeah. So reading what he said was, England are so bad, he doesn't know how to play football. I'm assuming he is Southgate. Sure, with the starting 11, because he's relying on youngsters in the midfield.
So first of all,
what do you guys
user
think?
RJ.
With the starting 11, he was bad, where you take Luke Shaw, who's not fully fit, and then you take Trippier. Yes, you can play left back and right back, but when you tried that in the first game, we could all see.
Well, essentially, look, you do agree with that comment because you didn't know who his best 11
was. Yeah.
He started with Trent in midfield, changed the fullback,
and Trippier as
then
well.
started changing it front.
But you could see Trippier every time he got the ball. Sorry about that. Every time he got the ball, he was trying to cut in rather than exploit that left flank.
But that's what he's naturally going to do as a right-footed left back. He's going to come inside.
At the tournament, they should have taken Mitchell, who plays left back at Crystal Palace.
He had a natural left back to take.
So let's have a look at another comment.
Have a look. What we got?
Do you want to go for this one?
I'll have a read of this one. So from user Abu Hafsa Abid, I think the team that has been a bit of a surprise package for me is Turkey. I think they have done well. Yeah, I know they have the youngest squad, but to still turn up and fight in every game, making it exciting, makes them my favourite team thus far. I actually agree with that. We haven't really spoke about Turkey. And
I think they were one of my surprise
how they played,
teams.
they did really well.
They're one of my surprise teams. I think they were.
I really did want them to get through, and they were quite close in the end
Netherlands.
Against the Netherlands, but they were always just a little bit too open.
But imagine the game, England versus Turkey. It's like no one would have attacked. It would have been defence versus defence.
Well, no, I think the Turkish were quite brave though in attacking. I mean, one player that stood out for Turkey was Arda Güler.
Yeah. Oh.
He's a youngster that plays for Real Madrid. He really stood out.
For me, he'd be second.
He was just so composed on the ball. He was like he was.
How old is he?
He's only about 17.
Yeah.
And you would think he's almost like 27, that he's played the game for 10, 20 years.
I haven't watched a player like him probably play since. I know this is people say, oh, why do you compare? But to Kaka, I think the way he got the ball and he was gliding on that pitch, and he made the whole game. He'd made it look is played at his pace.
Yeah.
And he's one of those that with the right development, obviously not in goals, but I reckon would have that footballing brain where he could play anywhere in the field, because the way he used to get the ball and he would just turn, look around, pass. It's just he made it look so easy for someone so young. But no, I really, really rated him, and he and Turkey were my surprise. So my surprise team and my surprise player, which I didn't really know too much of. I heard the hype with Real Madrid, and they did really well.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at another comment.
Have a look at the final comment that we had.
Oh, this is a good one. It's HD
H Darmy.
Darmy, yeah.
H Darmy.
And
he got some funny usernames, guys.
And he said Spain being the best team to watch so far. I'd say Lamal is the player of the tournament so far, and Olmo was on fire against Germany, and he's likely to start next game, which would have been then
Which he did start.
Which he did start, and with Pedri injured. So
again, I completely agree.
Let's look a
I
bit.
can't really disagree. But Olmo's another
Olmo's
one
another, yeah.
that we didn't talk about. Came into the Spain team, obviously on the back of Pedri having an injury. And wow.
Yeah. What we can say is the Spain team was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and even Fabian Ruiz we haven't spoke about.
Exactly.
Cucurella we haven't
spoke about. Yeah. Cucurella's another one. Yeah, really.
You know,
as a Chelsea fan, he surprised me.
who's playing in Saudi and had the tournament of his life. They were all they were all very. Carvajal, who's winning everything and won everything.
And who was the other centre back?
Lenomo.
Lenomo,
and he's just signing for Atletico Madrid now.
Atletico Madrid, and I'd heard a year before he was close to, or he may have signed for Plymouth Argyle. look at the two.
So Plymouth, I don't even know what league they're in.
They're in Championship.
Not to be ignorant.
They survived and they didn't get relegated.
So this guy that's now won the Euros, last year was close to signing for a team that's in the league below the Premier League.
Yeah. Oh.
So it shows you how within a year fortunes change for.
And I think he signed for Real Sociedad. But like I said, we could be here. We could do one whole episode on talking about how good the Spain team was.
Yeah.
In terms of everything. And
too much to say.
Yeah, how I'd also finish it off is that even when Rodri came off in the final, all the English media and the pundits were like, "Oh, Rodri's
all excited
off.
that Rodri's going off.
We're gonna do it."
Didn't change a thing.
I didn't absolutely change a thing because the chap that came on for him,
Zumamendi, mentioned him in the episode before, so he was quality.
And he came in and made it look easy. If anything, yes, they may have conceded, but they also scored 2. So fair enough.
But again, you concede sort of wonder goals, don't you?
Yeah.
That happens in football, but you know, and not any other point, we didn't really look that threatening, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So, to you guys, if you want to leave us some more comments on your thoughts on today's podcast, today's episode, let us know in the comments. You might agree or disagree. Like, I want Lampard to be England manager. and if you leave a comment please share the episode, and thank you very much.
Like, share and subscribe, please guys. Thank you. See you next time. See you.